I'm Sita Sagaran, and welcome to today's session, Nurturing a Growth Mindset. What is fixed and growth mindset? It was Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, who is credited for the terminology growth and fixed mindset. Talking of fixed mindset, they believe, or those people who do have fixed mindset believe that their basic qualities like behavior, intelligence, or talent, it's all fixed. They believe that if you are not good at something, you'll never be good at it, basically. Not just you might, you'll never be good at it, is what they believe. And those who believe in a growth mindset believe that their basic qualities can be developed through dedication and hard work, that efforts is the path to mastery. And learning about growth mindset creates self-motivation and raises our awareness of what we wish to achieve. It also enhances well-being and improves our relationship. So I'd like to ask Saira specifically, exactly how would you suggest that an individual can cultivate a very, very healthy and long-term growth mindset?
See, I believe some of the things that we really need to do is acknowledge and embrace our imperfections. It is so important for us to do that, to be able to embrace this growth mindset, because it's all about not having that fixed mindset towards towards anything in life. Another thing is, if we are failing, there is this particular podcast which I always listen to, which is called How to Fail with Elizabeth Day. So I'm going to tell you about embracing imperfections. One of the things that I do, as you've just introduced me, you've just said that I'm an artist and I create, or rather I teach art. A lot of people have this perfect picture in their mind when they come to learning art. And by first or second session, they are all ready to, they're like, this looks horrible. It doesn't look anything like me. How are we going to get to that? So that kind of a mindset is what we try and chip away at. We try to tell them, give it time, and over time, you will see where you get. And that's actually part of, art education. It helps us not in judging things. And that is very much part of a growth mindset. So we view challenges as opportunities. We view the value of you value the process over the end result.
But I would like to just mention a quote by Dr. Dweck here, who takes a very pragmatic, I would call it, perhaps even you can call it as stoic approach, when she says that while failure can be painful, but that doesn't define who you are. It's a problem to be faced, dealt with, and learned from. And I think that gives us also an insight on why we should take failures, not as failures, but something that we can actually latch onto and build from there. What do you say, Saira? What do you think about, how do you define failures or challenges? Let's put it that way.
How do I define failures? When you're growing up, one of the things that our education system harps upon is our grades, and is the way, your whole life stands on those numbers. I become a figure, yeah? And as you grow up, you realize life is not just that. Life is, every child I come across, I make sure that that child understands that your numbers don't define you, because those numbers can play havoc with your life, right?
Absolutely.
So on that basis, that your failure or a winner on the basis of certain numbers, it can be a life and death situation in certain cases. And we change and evolve so much when we know that that's not the end and be all of it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Saira. So coming back to Dr. Dweck here, in her book, Mindset, Dr. Carol Dweck describes having a fixed mindset as attaching one's self-worth to extrinsic or fixed accomplishments, such as Syra very rightly pointed out, such as academic scores, trophies, or professional status. While growth mindset is growth where we experience through, it's a growth that we experience throughout life. And we also make the most of what is there in our life. So, how do we develop a growth mindset?
For years, you do the set pattern, you're supposed to follow a certain route. And that's what I did. I finished my studies, got into the corporate world, started doing the things, I was part of the airline industry, and I went on for about 17 years. Although I enjoyed my work, it was not my passion, or there was a nagging voice within where I knew I was meant for, my calling was not that. Yeah, let's put it that way. I just knew that I had a bigger purpose, bigger thing to do in life. But could I do it? No, because everybody around me said it's not very viable. It's not a viable profession. We are in an era right now where we have so much information, and you just Google anything and you have that at the tip of your fingers. Now, in the 90s, you did not have that privilege, and hence you did not know how it would pan out if you took a certain route. So when I moved from Dubai to Bahrain, one thing was firm, that I will not get back into the employment field. I will not go and get myself another job, because I'd done it all. So, but what will I do? So the first thing was, innate voice was telling me, you got to do what you want to do. Go listen to your calling, which was to paint and read and talk about poetry, and bring this kind of humanities to the world. But could I do it? Was I skilled in it? Yes. Have I got years of experience doing it? Yes. But was I certified? Did I get a formal education in it? Not really. So then they said, you always you had that voice. And then I just said, if not now, then when? So just took that leap of faith and went ahead and did it. And today it just looks so fantastic looking back, that I'm running this company. I have this entire thing. So it's like I could have done this maybe 15 years ago, but I just did it 4 years ago. So getting comfortable in your own skin takes that time sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. You're so right, Syra, because I think even when I think of when I started off, a few years before I started off on my journey, if someone was to tell me that you're going to be taking this path, I would probably say, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because even that very thought would be something which would be making me feel, I'm going to step into something new that I have not had any experience before. So it's a big risk. So I know exactly, or rather we know exactly what you mean, Syra. Thank you. Thank you for giving us a little glimpse of the courage you had to become who you are. So I think if we are to think about the process on how we can change or bring about this change in our mindset, the first one would be identification of the current mindset that we have. Because we first need to know which state are we on? Are we having a fixed mindset, or are we having already are we on the growth mindset mode? So I think identification is the first one. The second one is looking at the areas of improvement. All of us, we have got our own areas of improvement. And it's a good idea to have a very, very close look, appraise our current strengths, and of course, like I said, the areas that need improvement. Review the success of others. I think that is a huge blessing, I would say, because when you're able to look and observe the success of others, there is so much that we can learn from them. It's not just learning from what they are good at, but also learning some of the challenges, from the challenges they have been through in life. Being kind to ourselves. Now that's once again very, very important, because when we have a growth mindset, there might be so many mistakes we may make in the journey, or we may have made, but are we kind to ourselves, or are we harsh? Are we a harsh critic? And apart from that is being inspired by others' successes. Now, when I talk about successes, it doesn't mean that they may have reached a point where they had wanted to. No, it could just be that they decided to take a bold step to do something, which for a lot of us may have been unimaginable. So they did have the courage to try something, even though it may not have worked out for them. So being inspired by other successes is very important too. Saira, would you like to also just give us a picture about something from your personal life? Yeah.
Personally, I'm very much on the same status as Dominic, because I've always loved to sing. And other than, in the privacy of my home, I don't sing anywhere else. And I know I have a good voice, but it's that image. You're so scared that people will laugh at you, that you will end up looking like a total idiot. You'll go off tangent. So you don't want to. But I have recently enrolled in classes to just learn to sing. And I said, that's it. I am going to do it. So that reminded me, when Dominic was talking.
When I come to Dubai, we'll do a duet. When I come to Dubai, we'll do a duet.
I think that's wonderful, Saira. I think that is definitely showing a lot of resilience. In fact, you can imagine in my home, I'm actually planning to soundproof the room from which I practice my. No, I'm not joking. I mean that, because every time I start singing, my son immediately will want to come in and say, "Yes, are you free, by the way? What are you doing? Hello, hello." And it's just his way of asking me to shut up. But then that's okay with me. I still go on singing. So, so in order to ensure that he doesn't come too often and disturb me, I'm planning to have my room as soundproof as possible. So I can actually quite understand. But that's really great, Saira. It's a very, very lovely feeling to be able to express yourself through singing, even if you don't have an audience or an encouraging audience, let's put it that way. So let's talk a little bit about what are the triggers? What are the triggers that determine whether you are thinking from a growth mindset perspective or from the fixed mindset perspective? For example, does tiredness make you revert into a fixed mindset? When you are tired, do you find yourself moving from the growth mindset to that of a fixed mindset individual? The second one, which is probably very thought-provoking, is when someone receives recognition in your field of speciality, are you envious or do you want to learn from them? And this is a question which can make a lot of us uncomfortable because it's a very direct question. It questions for what we stand for. Do we do what we are wanting to do? So that is one question there. And if a peer criticizes us, are we defensive or are we willing to learn from that? In other words, are we willing to think about, could there be something that what they are saying is real, or what exactly defines the situation? That's another one. And of course, when a teammate struggles, do you try to help or do you question their capabilities? Now that's also giving us a perspective about the kind of mindset we constantly have. And of course, when a project goes wrong, you blame teammates, or do we focus our efforts to look at a solution for the problem and wonder where we could have done better? So I think, what we need to, overall, I think what we need to focus on is, of course, consider challenges as opportunities, embrace our imperfections. I think that's very important as well. And there are many ways of finding solutions for challenges, because that also enables to reach out for help and seek advice as well. Kindly said, certainly. Thank you. No issues at all, Shalini. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. And of course, another thing is, of course, paying attention to the words that we use. How do we speak to others? How do we speak to ourselves? How do we speak to the universe? Are we conscious that whatever we say is as much as possible only positive? Do we use the right, appropriate, positive language when we are speaking to anybody, including ourselves? So I think that's also something we can focus on, cultivate a sense of purpose, be happy for others' growth, and celebrate them.